Hello and welcome to Heavy Metal Rex. My name is Wace, and today I want to take a look at an article that's been floating around on the internet. I actually saw it, it popped up on my Google feed a couple of days ago, and I've been seeing it on Reddit, and I've been seeing it on Facebook, and it's about Subaru taking the new WRX to the Nurburgring like they've done a few times before. So what I did was I actually went online and tried to find as many articles as I could about this besides the one that I originally saw, which is, we'll look at it, it's a little wonky. There's good information in here, but it's like, I'm not sure if it's all legitimate, but Subaru and STI actually have their own websites that does have some of this information detail in there. So let's look at some of the websites at first. So here's a couple of sites. I've used this site before. These are not websites that I normally go to. They just seem to pop up on my Google feed from time to time. What I feel like is they probably just get this information from wherever the source is and copy paste it. Most of these sites are. There are some nuances between them that I want to point out. So this first one I want to look at is on Torque News. Basically, Subaru's new WRX is looking ready for the Nurburgring 24-hour challenge. They've done this a few times before. All of the ones prior to this one have all been on the EJ platform. Which, as you all know, is no longer a thing. It is now an older engine. It is discontinued in the eyes of Subaru. Now they use the FA24, which is what they're going to be using in this year's race, which is, I think, happening, somewhere around May. I'm definitely going to try to cover it, and if I can watch it, that would be even cooler. Hell, it would be even cooler than that if I can actually go to Germany and be at the race. That would be badass. But so basically, they're going back, with the new WRX. It's a 24-hour race. It's happening May 20 to the 21st, of course, on Nurburgring in Germany. So the car looks fantastic. The car looks really good. Now, it's funny because, without all of the bells and whistles, it still looks really good. But here, it is pure race car. And I'm loving everything that they are doing with the design. They've got, this super aggressive splitter, the super big wing. But that's not what we're talking about. So, this one doesn't really have a whole lot of information in it like some of the other ones. Before they were actually in the 2-liter group, which now, of course, they're in the 2-liter to 2.6-liter group because of the bigger displacement of the engine. They are saying that last year they were making 335 horsepower and 340 pound-foot torque on the EJ, which was modified. And this year, they're making a little bit more. This one says that they don't have any specs for the 2.4-liter engine that they're using this year, but these next few sites do. A couple other things that they're using oversized mufflers. I don't know if that's supposed to mean just an oversized exhaust, maybe like a J-pipe or a downpipe of their own choosing. And of course, some aerodynamic stuff, if you've seen, it's got the big old wing, it's going to be a little bit better. But they don't really give a whole lot of information in this one. Now, look at all these ads, these targeted ads, it's crazy. So here's another website, Market Screener, never heard of it. I have no idea where this is from, or this is the first time I even found it. I was actually Googling just this information, and this is another one that popped up, which I don't think this has a whole lot more. Okay, so here they did start posting some of the information. So larger ball joints in the front. Let me just figure out how in the hell to close this ad. There it is. Larger ball joints on the front lower arms to improve durability and reliability, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Larger muffler, revised layout to meet driving noise regulations, and improved aerodynamics level. I mean, it's really basic information. There's really not a whole lot here to go off, so we'll continue this. So now this is the site carguides.ph. This is the one that I originally got, and this is the one that's circulating around. This has some really interesting information, which I'm still, even before I started doing this video, I wanted to give one more shot to see if I can corroborate some of the stuff they're saying. So we're going to skip down. So, okay, so here, this one also says the same thing, that up until last year, they were using the EJ20, not even the EJ25. They're using a modified version of the EJ20 to make about 340 horsepower, 361 newton meters of torque, which I need to go and get the conversion for that. I think that's 350-ish, I think. However, Subaru discontinued the EJ20, obviously, so the new WRX is going to be using the FA24. Now, this is the part that's really interesting because I did see this information can be corroborated, and we'll see later. It was designed in the WRX, it was unveiled. Now, they did put on a larger turbocharger and a larger intercooler. The power has been rated to 380 horsepower, which is interesting. This is where things are really interesting. They say even impressive is that the cylinder block and the heads are stock, but because they were designed for high outputs and revs in mind. And we know that because that is what's happening in the aftermarket right now. Now, what it doesn't show here, oh, let's finish this up. So it does use direct injection fuel delivery, but is now managed by its own dedicated ECU. I mean, that's cool. I don't really know what else to say to that. Precautions were made, however, to prevent the chain type cam. This is where the sentence doesn't make any sense. Precautions were made, however, to prevent the chain type cam driven from being starved of oil. Maybe it's supposed to say chain type cam drive from being starved of oil by using a baffle plate. All that's cool. Most importantly, it says it's the stock block and the stock heads, but it doesn't say anything about the internals being stock. One would have to assume that if the internals were not stock, they would have mentioned it. But again, this is still a third-party website. I don't know exactly where they got that information. I cannot confirm that. Then they continue to say what the other one said as well. You know, WRX moved to the Subaru global platform, and you know, SCI guys were really good with it. Now here's another really interesting bit. Proven components such as the transmission, rear differential, and rear subframe, the same design used since 2008, were carried over from the previous generation WRX STI parentheses V8. Now this, to me, that means they took the STI transmission or the driveline, the R180, the you know, the subframe to go with that, and then the actual transmission, and put in this. But what's more interesting is it is using a sequential gearbox. So I guess using the parts that come in the STI transmission, but then also putting it into a sequential gearbox so that they could use it, you know, like the click-click type of gear where you only go up and down one gear at a time. I don't know. Until this race actually happens, we're not really going to have a whole lot of information, I don't think. But it'll be cool. Hopefully that they do record it. So that's the most information we got on this website. And this is the first one that I read, which made me very excited, especially the whole thing about the stock block and the stock heads. But we already know that because in the aftermarket community, people have gotten this car to 400 and beyond, both in horsepower and torque. Now, moving on, STI has their own website. And then, of course, Subaru has their own website. So we'll start with the STI website. Basically, they're saying a lot of what you were seeing on the other pages. So I think that they just copy-pasted it. But this has a little bit more information. Nothing up here. They just tell you more about the track. But here's the car. So first of all, the car is going to have 280 millimeter wide tires on 11s. That is a lot of tire. They say special suspension, all-wheel drive control technology. I want to say that probably means they have a DCCD in there because they are using the STI transmission. And then other features for racing. Imagine running a racing or a performance-inspired website for a manufacturer, and then like people ask you, hey, what did you do to your car? And you say, racing stuff, you know, things related to racing. So I wish that they said a bit more. They don't say anything about the engine here. You know, they just say 2.4 direct injection turbocharged engine. They don't say anything about at least I don't think anywhere here it says about the bigger. No, I was hoping that they said it on the STI website, you know, that they're using the bigger turbo and a bigger intercooler. But they do mention the lower ball joints in the front lower arms have been replaced. They do mention the larger muffler with revised layout to comply with running noise regulations. I don't know what to make of that. Then they say development of flexible parts to capitalize on the Subaru SGP, which is actually, it's the SPG, Subaru. Oh wait, no, it is the SGP, Subaru Global Platform. Well, dyslexic. Reduced bracket weight. I mean all this just racing stuff, whatever, right? But I want to know more about the car. So here on the SCI website, they don't. Yeah, they don't. So if you want to know, this is general managers, team managers. So we got some drivers here. I don't actually know these guys personally. I don't know them personally. Maybe you guys do. Looks like you got some technicians, whatever. So here we go. STI did list some of the stuff, and this is where some of the information on the other websites can be corroborated. So yes, 2022 WRX, that's what they're using. They're using the FA24. Now this is the interesting part: single scroll turbo. We currently run a twin scroll on the stock car. Them saying that it's a single scroll means that they have changed it. It doesn't say anywhere that they've changed it, but that obviously they have changed it to be more power on the high end. Obviously on the street, you don't need that. That's why twin scroll is better. But here, they're going with a single scroll, meaning they will have much more power on the higher end. That's great. 280, so about 300 horsepower. So about 300 to the crank is what they're going to be making. Now this is about 590 Newton meters. I want to say that's like 435. Actually, you know what? We can do that right now to torque calculator. So let's see. So they said it was about 590 Newton meters per pound foot. Wait, where do you even type it? Value. So 590. Is that what they say? 590? 590. Convert. That is 435 pound-foot of torque. So that's a lot. That's a lot more. So 380 horsepower, 435. So that's basically like what a lot of people are getting right now with like an intercooler and a top mount and a J-pipe and some ethanol, right? And some people are even going well beyond that. So that's really interesting that they posted that. So this is the part that I read, that they do have a 6-speed sequential gearbox with paddle shifter. So this is, if you don't know what a sequential gearbox is, it's the one that you see on rally cars where there's a giant, you've got the gear stick, and when you push it forward and push it down, that's how you go up and down one gear. There's no like gates to it. It's just up and down, or you use the paddle shifters. The clutch obviously has been changed to a 5.5-inch multi-plate. That's obviously very interesting. They do have 6 pots in the front, 4 pots in the rear, presumably some sort of STI Brembos that we're already accustomed to seeing. Then custom BBS 18x11s with some Falcons on there. Great information. I wish that there was a little bit more, especially about the engine. I still don't know where Car Guide got that information about them using the stock block, because I haven't seen that anywhere else. Now, that's the STI website. We also, on Subaru's website themselves, they did also post about this. But a lot of the information is very similar to what is on the STI website, which class they're racing, a little bit more information about the track, basic information, who's going to be driving it, the pictures of the drivers and everybody, and they have the exact same information here, nothing different than what is already on the STI website. I'm going to still try to see if I can corroborate that information about the stock block. We already know that the stock block can handle that kind of power, because presumably if there was an STI, it was going to be using the same engine. And they're pretty much using the same engine in all of the cars that they have. And it's very good. The aftermarket has shown that we can make it to pretty high horsepower. So them making it to 300 horsepower that's not a surprise, but it's good to know that that's what they're doing with it, or that's what they were able to do with it, because that lets you know that it corroborates the tuner story that, like, hey, you can do it. If Subaru can do it now, so can you. Obviously, Subaru is not telling us like, hey, we can make 380, go do it now. But anyway, I saw this. I thought it was really interesting. I'm excited for this race. I'm excited to see this car perform, honestly. The car looks fantastic. I low-key want to make my car look exactly like that now. So I will still continue to find on the internet some more information, if I can, about the engine. And as the time gets closer, they said May 21st, May 20 or 21st. I'm sure more things are going to come out. There's going to be more press junkets about this. Obviously, Subaru wants people to see this so that they can sell more WRXs. And that's a great way. I know that they have a rally car as well, and not a lot of information available on what's going on the inside of that. I'm going to try to look for more information on that as well, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video if I find anything. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.